Do you speak to a sports therapist at all or anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
I do. I was on a 3-fight losing skid. Actually, after that zombie fight, I got really depressed. It was my first fight as a dad. It was very important to me. Fought Josh Emmett, lost a close fight. Evloev, 18 weeks of training camp, lost that fight, and I was just like in a cloud, dude. Like I was
What
lost.
a murderer's row, by the way.
Right.
For you to be feeling like that after those 3 in a row. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Verse Us with Eric Nixick. He is Eric Nixick. I am Randy Fainrich, and this is Verse Us. Today we are joined by Dan Ige. He's a perennial contender in the UFC's Featherweight division and blessed with 2 nuclear bombs in both hands. Dan Ige, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. I guess it's an honor.
First guest.
First guest on the podcast.
First guest on the pod.
Eric hit me up at midnight. He's like, "You're coming on the pod tomorrow." I'm like, all right, hold on. Let me rearrange my whole day.
So that's and you know how bad I hate like that kind of stuff.
Of course, yeah.
You know, like I'm like I even told him, I was like, I'll explain later.
Yeah.
But no practice tomorrow. I'll see you at the. And again, shout out to my boy Flex Lewis, Dragon's Lair, for allowing us to do this in his wonderful studio.
100%.
That's my dog, man. I love you, bro. Thank you for everything. But you know, as this show progresses, mandatory number 1 guest had to be my man, bro.
100%. And
Yep.
I wanted to talk about that real quick because I don't think a lot of people know the relationship you guys have. Dan was like either your first like athlete or one of your very first athletes. You guys have been together quite a long time,
Yeah.
right? Can you guys talk about like just the origin of like the relationship?
Well, I mean, Eric knows the math. Eric already got it calculated. We're about going on our 20th fight. I can't tell you. I don't even know how many fights. I don't know my record.
Yeah.
You know, I show up, fight night, I fight, we go home.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, by that math, you must be a millionaire.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, he so you know, obviously Brad Tavares is like the uncle to all the Hawaiian guys
Sure.
that have trained at our gym. If you're a Hawaiian guy that trains at Extreme Couture, you've slept on Brad Tavares' couch,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna come up through the ranks. You're sleeping on Brad's couch, and
It's a rite of passage.
That's a rite
for
of passage.
Hawaiian
You're
MMA.
going to
Yeah.
spend at least one weekend on Brad Tavares' couch. So, you know, and we've had this over and over and over with a lot of the Hawaiian guys that end up staying at a Extreme Couture. And Dan came out for a couple weeks at one point, the first time he came out, and him and I just really hit it off, man.
What
And
year was this, you think, like roughly?
2000. I came out.
I don't even know what year it is right now.
Yeah, I moved out
99?
here. Well, I'm going on 9 years,
Yeah.
but I came out here probably around 2013,
Yeah,
14,
okay.
just to like feel it out before I made the official move. But yeah, it slept on. It's crazy because I was working out with Brad yesterday. We're fighting on the same card. Well, I think I'm fighting, but we're fighting on the same card, and it's just cool. Like, I was a fanboy, you know. I watched Brad Tavares come up on The Ultimate Fighter. I was in college,
Right.
just being one of the boys from Hawaii, you know, put Hawaii on the map, and to now be sharing cards. And dude, he's done a lot for me in my career. And you know, without Brad, I wouldn't have E, and without E and all this, I wouldn't have any of this. So yeah, I'm just I'm blessed.
Yeah, I mean, we just, you know, it's sweat equity,
Right.
to be honest with you. And
Right.
like, I was cornering Brad. I had some fighters, but again, I was very much kind of learning my role as a coach and getting my reps in. At the same time, him and I started in the mailroom together. That's the one thing I always like to say with like Dan and I. We started in the mailroom together.
Yeah.
And he believed in me when I wasn't, you know, Robert Follis at the time. And we had all these great coaches in the gym, but he believed in my potential just as much as I believed in his in that moment. And, you know, he had a fight or two where I'd help him and we train. I couldn't corner him for one. And then we had this card that comes up in San Diego, and it was Dan, and then Danny Davis, and then Miles Hunsinger were supposed to be on the card. So we all go out as a team, and dude, it was one of the best fights I've ever been a part of. One of my favorite fights of all time in Corner and Dan.
Yeah.
He actually fought Fernando Padilla, who's in the UFC right now, who's actually doing really well. And Dan just dog walked this dude for 3 rounds, almost 10-8'd him each round. And like stylistically, like my style of coaching, his style of MMA, man, like right away, I'm like, oh, bro, I love this kid. And we had a blast. He dominated. Danny won his fight. We had a great weekend. And then boom, short notice. Not really short notice, but a quick turnaround.
Yep.
Then we go to Florida. We fought out there.
Yep.
That was pretty fun. Tell him about your weight cut.
Oh, where he threw up in the bathtub. We're literally about to cut weight. And
You're not even cutting weight. How'd you throw up in the bathtub?
Oh, he ate Wendy's. Was it Wendy's?
Wendy's, yeah.
He had Wendy's,
No.
bacon something.
I had all of it.
He had all of it.
I had all of it. You know,
Well,
when you travel West Coast to East Coast,
Yeah.
right? We got on this long trip. You don't really eat in the morning. You get on the plane. You have a layover. You fly to here. We get up. We're in Miami, right? This is where we're fighting. We finally get to the hotel. It's whatever time it was. So here's the hotel. On the property was a Wendy's, like literally right here. And I'm like, bro, I gotta eat.
I'm starving.
I haven't eaten anything all day. This is like a fucking 16-hour trip to get to Florida for whatever reason. Why, right?
7 layovers.
Yeah, because we're flying on cheap budget.
Spirit.
Cheap budget. Where we on Titan FC or something like that? Who knows? So I'm starving, and we pop into Wendy's, and he's not eating. Obviously, he's got to cut weight,
Right.
and I just chow like 3 burgers. You know how I eat, bro. And the moment I bite into this burger, I'm like, oh man, this tomato does not taste right.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna eat the rest of it anyway, yo. And sure as shit, it hits me, man. I get food poisoning so bad that I gotta run into the bathroom and I can't make it to the toilet.
Oh no.
So I needed a bigger trough to hit.
It literally happened within minutes. Like he ate the burger and next thing you know, I saw him go to
And
the
is it
bathroom.
like weight cut day at this point, or what?
The next day, the next morning
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
I mean, we're
That's it.
prepping everything,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
We're doing. I use the tub daily, so it's
You
like,
did.
yeah, dude, that it was poor janitor.
Yeah.
Lettuce. Just the whole.
Was it coming out of both ends?
Oh no, not actually. It was just coming out of the. But I'm barfing all his bathtub,
jeez.
and I just hear Dan like, "Dude, I gotta cut weight in this thing tomorrow." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, bro." And I'm like cheese grating food down the drain, and this is
And then the water doesn't drain.
Yeah, water.
no.
Oh, bro, it's so bad. It's so bad. So this is like our first like trip together, road trip together, and here we are. But that was one of my, all my trips are memorable, but especially just for us on the road, just me and him.
Yeah.
And then what was so cool about that trip for me was Anthony Rumble Johnson was like our guy. So he was with us the whole trip. He took care of us, like where to go, took us to lunch. If you guys need anything, picked us up, drove us here and there. So like thinking about these memories, like rehashing, like Anthony Rumble being a part of that experience was so cool.
He was on that card, or
No,
just-
he was just being big bro.
Oh,
Being a big bro.
Wow.
Took care of us, and then and it was a great fight.
Yeah.
Dan was the first fight of the night. We go in and do our job. It was a tough fight.
Yeah.
It was a tough fight. And it was one of those where it's like, hey, 1-1 maybe. I don't remember. Was it unanimous?
I don't know. I just remember it was a 9-2 Brazilian dude, and I donated to his GoFundMe to fight me.
Really?
He had to get
Wait. So wait.
Yeah, tell him, bro.
And then you won the fight?
I won the
So
fight.
you donated to him.
Well,
for
he had to
you
GoFundMe to get to
there.
the States to fight.
Oh.
And I needed an opponent, and he was my opponent. I was like, dude, I need this fight.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, I'm trying to go places.
Right.
So I donated I was like $100-$200. I didn't have a lot of money.
Shit. Wait, what fight
was a
this
lot of
for
money
you?
for me.
Yeah, of course. But what fight was this for you? Like your 5th fight?
Oh, this is right before Contenders.
Yeah,
right before. Yeah, so 6th, 7th fight. Yeah.
So you paid him to whoop his ass.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
essentially. But we need, like he's saying, like people, for the listeners, you have to understand, like the regional scene is like, don't try to like, oh, I want to make money on the regional scene. It's not about making money. It's about getting wins.
Right.
And you might actually come out of pocket more than you're even going to make any money at all. But the wins is what you're looking for. And if you can get good opponents, good matchups that okay, this is a great matchup for my guy.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. We'll spend a little money, right? So it's one of those trips where like I'm not expecting to make any money at all.
Right.
I know he's not going to make any money, but this is the investment that I'm talking about.
Right.
That eventually what you hope for, that you're in the position that we're at today. Right. But that was one of those fights where it's like, yo, you get this win. Now we got the win. Next fight, Contenders.
Wow.
Right. So again, another just masterclass on the Contenders. He does everything from the feet to the floor, all the way to we get the finish in the 3rd round. Shows everything you want to see if you're Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, or Dana White. Everything. We don't get the contract.
Yep.
We don't get the contract.
Yeah.
Which kind of like to this day still has a chip on both of our shoulders.
Yeah. You were on first season too, right?
Yep.
Season 1, bro.
Because I think I was there still. I think I worked.
I remember
was working.
Boston Salmon got the call, and I was like, dude, what is this contender? Brian Butler was my manager at the time. So I was like, Brian, what is this Contender Series? Get me on it. And then eventually they got me an opponent, Luis Gomez.
Yeah.
He's 5-0 or 6-0 when I fought him.
Right.
Yeah, I beat his ass. I think my theory is it was my haircut. I had a terrible haircut, so they didn't sign me.
And that's why.
Yeah, but
theory.
you know, anytime he's had a shitty haircut, somebody's fucked his hair up. He's beat the dog shit out of somebody. Real talk.
Someone's got to pay for
I
that.
think it's in the haircuts, bro. I don't know what it is. You know, so. But yeah, so we don't. He doesn't get the contract.
Right.
And now to this day, you win a boring decision. You're getting a contract on contenders. Like that still kind of bothers me. Like no, man. So we didn't get the deal.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
we know.
Yeah.
We know. Like it's not based on any type of merit.
Right.
It's based on a certain
Right.
person's probably pick or you know whatever.
But tell him how you got signed.
So Hunter Campbell, you guys all know Hunter. Hunter actually came up to me after my fight and was like, dude, that was he's like, I'm sorry you didn't get signed.
Yeah.
You belong in the UFC. You're going to be in. Just, just stay patient. Keep doing your thing. So I was like, whatever, this isn't going to stop me. I'm just going to start getting ready for another fight. And then one day I was working for Ali and Dominance at the time, traveling on the road. And we're in New York and Ali's like, brother, come to the club. I'm like, dude, I got to train at 9 a.m. at Henzo's. Like, I don't want to go out. Yeah. He's like, brother, shut up. Get down here. Get down to the club. Mix here. Sean, I was like, dude, quite frankly, I don't care. I got to train tomorrow. Yeah. He's like, shut up, brother. You need to come now. So I came and it was Hunter, Sean, Mick, and they ended up buying me drinks. And I'm like, I don't want to party. I don't want to drink. So I'm like, whatever. These are the execs, right? The guys that.
The decision makers.
Yeah, they literally make the whole show run. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll take a drink. They're getting me fucked up. And then, then Hunter's like, hey, man, congratulations. You're in the UFC. So they signed me right then and there. Really? And like to this day, like if they ever go back to that club, like I'll get random text messages. Yeah. This is where I signed you, motherfucker. Yeah. So it's a cool reminder. I'm not a club party guy, but it's a place of significance for me because that's where I got signed.
Did they ever tell you why they didn't do it on that show and then decided to do it in a club?
No,
roster, right? Like we have so many guys in this division. We weren't signed, whatever.
I never really asked those questions. Yeah. And I just, you watch the business, that Fight Inc. or whatever. You see how things happen behind the business, but I don't know. Yeah. But I did keep that chip on my shoulder for a while. Like when Dana does that, if you don't know, now you know things. And it's like, you see my name and it says CS Contender Series. Like I didn't get signed. Yeah, you didn't sign me on Contender Series.
But,
I didn't even think about that. That's like, they do have that little CS next to it, and you actually technically didn't come from there because you didn't get signed there.
No, it was dope, bro. I get a FaceTime from him, and of course he's now pretty drunk, and he's balling. Yeah, and I'm crying now, and he's crying. He's like, oh, we got it, man. I'm in. Yeah. And he got signed with the UFC, and like I just remember, for me and him both, we really try to counter. If I'm down or if I'm sad, he's not going to be more sad or down either. He's going to find ways to bring me up and vice versa. Yeah. In my heart, I was like so mad that they didn't sign my kid. Yeah. I was so mad because he did everything right. But in my head, I'm like, this is going to be the best thing for us. Right. Because of perspective, it's like this dude, and anytime he's ever had a chip on his shoulder, or he had something to prove, he's fought 10 times better, or it's made him better, or it's made him just, push a little bit harder, whatever it is. And I just knew there was a purpose or a reason why. And I'm glad it happened the way it did. And because it put us in a position to where, all right, everybody in the division is going to be on notice. Like we're going to go in here and fuck some shit up. Yeah. And, we lost our debut. Then we won 6 in a row. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? Like that little chip? Because like you hear about the great athletes, like Jordan is like the example, or Brady, those guys that like, any little or they'll make shit up in their head to like get, and you just said the CS, which I think nobody would ever even think of.
Yeah.
It's like something they just look right past, but to you, it pisses you off every single time. Where does it come from, you think?
I think, cause I don't ever look at myself as the best. Dude, I lose a lot of rounds in training, but I show up every single day, whether I feel good or I don't feel good. And just putting in that work consistently, you start to feel this like entitlement to something. Like, dude, I am working towards something and it's not paying off. So it's like that you start growing the chip by that, you know? So it's like, I was on a 6-fight winning streak or a 5-fight winning streak leading up to the Contenders, won that, dominated the guy, got a finish, that's what they're looking for, and didn't get that contract. And it's like, dude, what more do I got to do? What do I got to prove to you guys? So I don't know. I think it just comes and, breeds competition, and you always got to find something that keeps you hungry and motivated. Right. So
what's the Hagler line? It's hard to wake up when you're sleeping on satin sheets.
Yeah.
So you got to find something that consistently just gets you like.
Yeah. And I think that's the best thing about our relationship is that as we've grown from the mailroom to CEOs in the company, we've always still feel like we're still in the mailroom. We've never left the mailroom. We still have always had that mentality with our work ethic together. Like there's days where, maybe I don't feel like training or my body's sore or I'm tired or mentally tired. But I'll tell you, like on a Monday, I automatically like, all right, it's me and Dan today. Or like, okay, we're doing devgru practice. All right, I get to see my boy, or I do S&C with him. When I can, I'm trying to be there. I'm trying to be in the weeds with my dude. Not only because I think it's good for me, but I think it's good for our cohesiveness, but I want to be there. I want to be there, right? I always say there's get tos and got tos. I get to coach Dan Ige.
Yeah.
Then there's like, I got to go and do this. I have to, or I got to go do whatever. Right? You never say I got to go because it's something fun. Right. When you say I get to, I get to do this because it's an honor.
Right.
Perspective.
And that's my relationship. It's been with him, and dude, couldn't be happier with the rise. And we believed in something at an early stage in our careers, and now here we are.
Yeah.
And so like you mentioned, you lose your debut, then you guys reel off 5 in a row or 6 in a row.
Yep.
Right. What is like, what is the thought process at that time? Because like, you got to feel good, almost like a fuck you to the UFC in a way of like, you should have signed me, motherfuckers, like the first time. But like, how are you guys like going through that process? Like mentally, physically, like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Honestly, it's just one fight at a time. After I lost my debut, I was like, fuck, now I felt like my back was against the wall. I was like, I've seen guys get cut off 1 loss, 2 losses. So I came out, I fought Mike Santiago, and he had just fought Zabit. Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Like it was a highly talented fighter at the time. Yeah. And he was having success with him, and I was like, oh, this dude's pretty good. Yeah. And he's from Chicago. We flew to Chicago. I think I took him out in like 45 seconds in round 1. Silenced the whole crowd.
Was that the Whitaker Ramiro rematch card?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tell him about the shakeout that day.
Oh, dude. I mean, you tell him. I was in my zone. I just remember blast doubling and
it was dope.
Up
so
Skyler.
Like, we do a shakeout and we're working in whatever, and like.
Yeah, explain what a shakeout is real quick in case people don't know.
Well, a shakeout is, to me, something that kind of got developed. Well, I've been in the game since 2007. We never did shakeouts. As it's something that I think that's progressed into more of the new wave of MMA. I like them for certain individuals, but they're not necessary. So a shakeout essentially is a workout before you go fight. Right. Now, if you're fighting late, you're on the East Coast, like Sean Strickland fought at midnight when we're in New Jersey. Right. You're sitting around all day. You got a lot of nervous energy. Shakeout can be used for many different things. It could also be to get the team together and rehash the game plan, any questions, X's and O's, whatever. Right. But it's to kind of just break up the monotony of the day, in my opinion. Right. Well, for Dan and myself and Skyler, I had just cornered Lance Palmer. I just flown in. We weighed in the day before. We have team dinner. Saturday we get up, and I hadn't seen him for the week. Hey, let's rehash the game plan. What are we doing here? And a lot of it was like his step overs. He had some switch cross series he was doing to get into his blast doubles. And at the time it was kind of new wave of MMA, grappling, striking, and grappling stuff. And so we bring in his brother-in-law, Skyler, who is like, to me, like the secret ingredient to what our success was as we started winning these fights in a row. It wasn't like, it's just, one is his energies. He's just a great human being to have around. But he also brought like this element of like where Dan can kind of fight him and beat him up.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody that's his size, right?
Right.
And then, so the shakeout is just Dan kind of free flowing and getting into some of the meat and potatoes, but then the side dishes are what he feels like in that position. Well, he lands this like combination on Sky, fillers Skyler, puts him on his ass in this position, and then like half guard with a backside wrist ride or a leg pin, and just beats the crap out of Skyler in the shakeout. And I like stop. And I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it right there. Like, that's how we win this fight. That was amazing. Do that. Set it up, blah, 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 blah. Bro, verbatim, fight comes out and it's just like watching the whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
Lands it in sequence. Boom, step over, hits him. Kid head pops up, throws another uppercut, maybe like 1 or 2 extra punches.
Yeah.
Right.
Flares him, gets him in that position. Like he builds up, he goes for a choke to break him back down, breaks him down, beats him, wins the fight. And I just look over at Skylar. I was like, holy shit, dude. The whole shakeout right there. You just did it.
I don't know what it is, but that night I just felt so on, like that flow state.
Yeah.
Even in the back was just so relaxing and like fun.
Yeah.
I just remember cracking. I don't even fucking say jokes, but I'm cracking jokes.
Right.
And I'm like telling the commissioner, write like 23 on my raps, or Jordan, because we're in the United Center in Chicago. I'm like, I was feeling that energy and just embracing that. And it just really felt so present and in the zone. And literally got a flawless victory. Mortal Kombat, some flawless victory. And didn't get a bonus. So that added to the chip. You know? And then we reeled off 5 more. But
what is the so you mentioned like the because I've always been curious about this with athletes. You hear athletes say like, I was on, like you just said, like I was I was present, I'm there, I'm on. But what is the flip side of that? Because there are athletes and moments where you're just not feeling good. Like you're not on. I feel like, you know, we kind of saw that recently and we were in Saudi, you know, with Francis being like a little tired and lethargic and things like that. How do you, like, as an athlete, when you're not feeling that, what's going through your mind? Like, are you freaking out at that point, or
Jordan Griffin fight?
Jordan Griffin, Movsar Evloev.
Because so some you win, right? Some you lose. But like, what is that thought process like?
What I've experienced in my career, I've won on my worst days. I've lost on my worst days. I've lost on my best days. And getting into that flow state, that's ideal. And for me coming up, it used to just be like a roll of the dice. Like, all right, hopefully I end up in that state today. You know, was it the oatmeal that I, like, you try to put together these little pieces. Right. And like, oh, I didn't eat this, and that's why I don't feel that way. But what I've learned and this is something I'm mastering right now is, how do I always get in that flow state? Because I believe it's a skill. I believe you see the greats of any sport, and they're always on. It's a skill they've developed. So for me, I've had to learn the hard way, you know, just going through the motions. Sometimes I feel good, sometimes I don't. And I'm not always guaranteed to feel. That's why when you don't feel good, showing up to the gym on those days where you don't feel good, or you're sick, or you're tired, it's important. Especially in the training. I get, overtraining, because I do take a scientific approach on things too. I know when to take certain days off or pull back. I do think it's important to train, especially when you're like not feeling your best.
Because you might that day.
Exactly.
You might on fight day.
Right.
Like, not every fight day is going to wake up and feel perfect, right? We just went through this yesterday with Tom Breeze. Just pulls out a Sotheby's fight because he has a migraine. Which, listen, the guy's got 20 some odd pro fights. He's not by any means a pussy.
But he's been known to do this a few times.
He's been known to do this over and over in London.
When I was working at UFC.
So, but that was the first thing I connected to was him going like, bro, there are times when you wake up with the sniffles or you're not going to feel good. And how do you compete in those times really defines your legacy in a lot of ways to me. You got the flu game, right? Jordan's sick, Kobe's sick, right? And these guys are still going out and not only competing, They're dominating.
Yeah.
But what happens with elite level competitors? They look at it as a challenge.
Yeah.
They go, okay.
Because they're sick.
Right.
They're sick.
They're sick in the head.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I love about it.
Right.
It's all about your perspective. It's like, okay. Yeah, I want to be a little sick because I want to try to level the playing field for this dude because I know I'm going to whoop his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you, as a coach, deal with that because I'm sure as a coach, you know your fighter in and out, you see it.
Right.
They're like, oh, he's not there right now. Like I got to get into him or whatever.
For
like,
sure.
How do you deal with that as a coach for your fighter when you know he's like a little off or she's a little off and you're trying to get him in that mode?
Honestly, it just depends. But like with him, I know I can push his buttons or I know how to challenge him. And usually it's more in a level of competition rather than like, I don't have to punk him or I don't have to say like, things like that. But I know how to draw motivation out of Dan Ige.
Right.
Right. I know what his buttons are to help him go, okay, I can get over this hump. But honestly, God, I know this sounds crazy. It's because we do so much together. It's sweat equity. When I say something to him, when I lock into his eyes and I'm sitting there, like I get on ground level on the floor and I look right at you. I'm not standing over you. I'm eye to eye with you. And not a lot of people will understand that moment. But when he sees me and I see him, it's not just words coming out of my mouth. It's gospel. It's like, dude, I believe what this guy's telling me because not only when I'm doing my S&C and I'm dying, this dude's right next to me dying with me.
Right.
When I'm at practice and I'm fucking pushing hard, he's right next to me yelling at me or we're in this together is my point. So it doesn't really matter what the words are being said.
Yeah.
It's the delivery of what's being said in that moment and him going, yep, I got you, bro. And we've had those moments like on the stool. We've had some of my most favorite times is with him on the stool. Yo, 1-1 going into 3. Round 3, what do we do? Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Let's go. Mirsad Bektik, right? We've had those fights where we needed that out of one another, And dude, I've always said this to him. Like there's not many guys in the world that I'll take with 5 minutes left on the clock to go out and go find a way to win this fight. And he's that guy that can go do it.
Yeah. Let's transition a little bit to like present day because we were speaking last week and you've had like a couple opponent changes now with like your next fight, right, in July. I guess number one, do we have an update on that? I know last time was potentially Sean Woodson.
Yeah. Well, I was offered Sean Woodson. I was originally supposed to fight Joe Anderson Brito.
Yeah. This is July 20th. Yeah.
July 20th.
Who's called him out.
Right.
Numerous times.
Right.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, Dan Ige, motherfucker. Well, we're here. You called his name. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you can't fight. You can't fight for whatever reason.
Right.
Like you better have your foot cut off.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like I very rarely ever get into this like talking shit about opponents or anything like that. Like this shit's personal to me now and we're gonna fucking sleep this dude. Like I was pissed.
Yeah.
Like, all right, call my boy out. Let's go. Like we're amped.
But he's out.
Now he's out.
He's out.
But he's out.
I was offered Sean Woodson. I've said yes. It's been about a week. I haven't heard anything. I don't have official bout agreements or contract signed. So for me, I have to stay focused. I can't let a contract or a bout agreement. I can't wait for that to get to work, if that makes sense.
100%.
So I have to shut all that out. I am my own manager. So there is a side of me that has to check in, be like, hey, is this fight on? Is it a go? But as an athlete, I have to stay focused, stay disciplined, stay dialed in with my nutrition, my weight cut.
Yeah.
If a fight gets pushed back, okay, whatever, we'll be ready. But if it doesn't, I'm ready on that day, no matter who it is. We always focus on what we're going to do, 80-20.
What is 80-20?
80% of our game, 20% of, our opponent.
Right.
How are we going to deter this towards a 6'3" southpaw versus a 5'7" power puncher?
Yeah.
So just little shifts and stuff, but we do our same shit.
He is
same
a big,
shit every
he's
day.
a big motherfucker. He's 6'2" featherweight.
Yeah, man, we got the game plan.
Of course.
No, I mean, in my head, I'm like right away.
Yeah.
And that's what I love so much about this sport.
Yeah.
It's all about how do we play chess, right? Like, dude, last night, Alex Polizzi should have lost that fight, right? Like on paper.
Right.
But that's the fun part, right? Okay, we have ways to win if you can follow this way to win,
right?
And then we can do it. We can find ways to beat these guys.
Yeah.
There's, and then of course, the higher up you get, the less of the ways, right? You got to figure that out as you go.
Sure.
But that's the best part about the game.
I don't know how many people do this, but like when we're in the off season, I like to pick a week I'll take every single guy in the top 15, watch a little film, and okay, let's start with number 15. Who is it? Edson Barboza. All right, how can we game plan against Barboza? Okay, next week, Bryce Mitchell. Next week, Volkanovski. Next week, Lerone Murphy.
Right.
So we're always kind of finding ways to keep it fun, especially in the off season. Like you show up, you do the same thing every day. It could get stale, it could get boring. But how do I keep it fun in my mind? So that's why when I get offered a guy like Sean Woodson, it's okay. I've mentally game planned for this guy already, and I put in reps with Eric or with whoever. We have so many good guys in the gym.
Yeah. But it keeps you accountable too as a coach. So it's like, hey, you know, and it does. It makes Mondays fun. Hey, let's game plan against so and so this week, and it already kind of like you're not going to spend a camp, right? It's literally Sunday night. You watch a little tape on him. He'll watch a little tape. Monday we'll show up and we'll run some routes on what we would do versus his opponent, and it really helps almost kind of lay like a foundation down in case you get that guy. But it's not wasted reps.
Right.
It's growth.
Of course.
It's growth.
Yeah.
You know, so I love that idea. And I think it's something that, you know, I wish you didn't tell anybody because I think we're ahead of the game on that.
Yeah.
Well, don't do, I mean,
I
can't win a fight, Dan.
Yeah. Speaking of, well, actually, did Jared Gordon win? Did we know?
Lost.
He did
Looked
lose?
like a split.
Oh, I didn't even see the result.
Lost.
Damn.
Lost a split.
That sucks. That's our guy. Speaking of opponent switches, I'm interested to get both you guys' thoughts on this. Conor and Chandler. Not necessarily the fight, but I want to put you guys in Chandler's shoes. If you're Chandler, and I'll start with you, like, do you agree with his strategy? Like, are you waiting this long for one guy? Like, obviously the payout is there, but like he is 35, right? So, you know, he's still in his prime maybe, but like on the back half of his prime. What, as an athlete, what are you doing in that situation? And do you agree with kind of how he's handled it?
I feel like where Chandler's at in his career and what he's done and accomplished, I think it's the right move for him because I mean, I don't know. I don't know the actual numbers. Is it true that he's getting 10 times his purse amount? If that's the case, and you got to fight 10 times to make that, dude, wait. You see guys that miss their opportunity. If Conor's your big money fight,
right,
and at that point in your career and you're trying to, you know, stack up some money for your family, that might be the move. Then you got other guys that are like, you know, I'm going to take a risk. And then you end up losing that fight and you never get that opportunity again. So I don't know. Will we ever see Conor fight again? I don't know. That dude's very well off. He's got a lot of money. He doesn't need a fight for money. Right. But he wants that Bugatti.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, we talked about this. Like, as a coach, if you're Chandler's coach, which I think is Henry, right? And you're close with Henry. like, what do you tell? Do you tell your fighter anything? Like, do you just say, okay, whatever you want to do, we're going to do it? Like, because it is like, on one hand, I get it. Like, it is your big payday and everything like that. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, it's been a year and a half since he's fought or something like that. Like, what are you talking to your fighter about?
You're there for just kind of bouncing resources off one another. Yeah. In this particular situation, Dan is absolutely right. Chandler has shown his hand. Yeah. He's not trying to be world champion. Yeah. He doesn't care about that. He cares about big money fights. There's a reason why now he's calling out Max. He's doing these other things. He wants showcase fights for big money. Right. I love that. I love that. So but what you're telling us is it's not to be a world champion anymore. Right. So your gears shift as a coach. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because as a coach, it's like, I want to know what we're doing with all honesty. Hey, were we just trying to make some money? Were this? Okay, I get that. I understand. Are we trying to be fucking world champions? Yeah. Because if we're trying to be world champion, yo, bro, let's go fight Armand. Let's go fight this person, and let's move up this ladder because we're right in the mix. But if you're Chandler, you've already shown your hand. You've shown your cards, bro. Yeah. You haven't fought in 2 years now, right? You're still waiting on this prom date. Maybe she shows, maybe she doesn't. And I guarantee you Chandler's making some good money already. He's probably got some great sponsors. He's in a position of where he's got some good wealth. But the lottery ticket, the red panty night, is still out there. But you don't know if that girl's going to show up. That's the only issue.
Yeah.
Now, how long do you wait? How long do you sit there and wait for this guy to maybe show up? Well, now your prime of your career is just kind of twilighting away. You know what I mean? Just kind of, hey, well, what do we do now? So it's one of those things. If it's Dan Ige's career where he's at right now, oh, bro, we're moving on.
Yeah.
There's no sitting around like this.
Right.
Because he wants to be a world champion. So situations are different. In this particular one, because you've already shown your hand, if you're Chandler, you gotta wait for Conor now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're Conor, like, why are you fighting? And as an athlete, like, do you think it's because I told Eric this the other day, I think he's just addicted to that feeling of like the walkout and like the actual fighting part of it. Like, I think there's like, and you could speak to this more than me, obviously, like there's probably like an addiction in that where
You
like
nailed
that
it, bro.
feeling.
You nailed it, bro.
Yeah. Do you think that's what it is? Like, is he just addicted
like
to that
thrill?
feeling?
It's the thrill of the unknown.
Yeah.
You know, when I
Then
wake
go
up,
skydive.
dude, I can do everything. I can get ready for a fight and do everything right and lose the fight because like I still don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
That's where anxiety. You know, I don't know what these guys go through, but all of us for sure deals with some type of anxiety.
Yeah.
Before a fight, and it's how do you handle it?
Yeah.
How do you push through that barrier and walk into the unknown?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all. You know, that's why we all love it and why we keep showing back up.
You think that's what keeps him
Beyond
coming
our
back?
time.
Yeah.
I think he's an addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I
Yeah.
think we all have addictive personalities to certain things. And that's why we want to be addicted to positive, healthy things that are going to help our success. So I'm sure early on in his career, he was addicted to the craft to get him to a certain point, right? And now he's at that point. And credit to him, bro. Like, I'll say this, the MMA space is better with Conor McGregor in it,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
He's done so much for this MMA community that I think people don't really understand. There's a ripple effect that Conor's had on the community.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? If the house in the neighborhood sells for $4 million and we bought our house for $1 million, right? That's Conor McGregor. He's raising the property value for everybody else in the neighborhood.
Right.
And he's done that for MMA.
Right.
We're not going to get Conor McGregor money, but it's definitely brought the rest of the team along with him some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So people that want to dog on him or say this or say that, especially within our community, coaches and fighters, hey, don't forget this dude's raised the property value for a lot of people. Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I always thought that was interesting because at some point it's just like, dude, like this is such a risky sport. You got to dedicate so much to it, and he's won. Like he's won. So like, you know, whether he wins another title or another fight or anything, he's won. But
so,
bro, like you know the UFC, you work for the UFC. What if the UFC just said, listen, we know you're never going to fight again, but if we can keep you relevant, think about this, bro. You don't think that there's like things like this that maybe go on?
100%,
right?
But yeah,
bro, like think about football.
Yeah,
I'll put a dude in as a decoy. If Christian McCaffrey rolled his ankle, hey, I need you in on his play though, because you're playing decoy for this sort of position, whatever else it is. Yeah. If Conor McGregor is relevant within the space, do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course,
right?
Yeah,
he's relevant within the space. More eyes. The question I get the most right now is what? What do you think about Conor?
Yeah.
What do you think about Conor versus Chandler? Do you think Conor's going to fight?
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Yeah.
Is him talking, him in the headlines. Yeah. Right? Everything you turn on. Now we got to look at his fucking pinky toe.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I was going to ask you guys about that. I feel like the narrative is, okay, he has fought injured multiple times. So like, not give him a pass, but like we understand pulling out. But like when you saw the toe, like what was your guys' like? Because people have fought with a lot worse. By the way, he's pulling out for a broken toe, and the guy replacing him is coming. It has currently a broken toe. You know what I mean? So like I think it's funny. But anyway, what did you guys think when you saw the toe?
I didn't honestly. I saw it and I looked past it and I just went about my day.
Oh, Johnny Walker got
flatlined.
Yikes!
Flatlined.
Yikes!
Scary.
Wow.
Very scary. Damn.
Toes pointing and all.
Oh,
yeah.
He's had a couple of those too, which
flatline
is not good. Jamal, he had his toes curled. This guy, a couple other ones. Like,
wow. And this guy, what a crazy career for Volkan.
I was just thinking the same thing, dude.
Wow.
what a wild career. Fighting for the world title in like your third fight,
Right.
and then a losing skid, and now
He
just
stiff
coming back
this
up.
dude like a board.
Yeah.
All right, back
Sorry,
to the pinky
yeah.
No,
toes.
I was just saying, you're always,
Let's watch
dude,
the
you're always
knockout. Let's
one
watch the
fight.
knockout. Let's see the knockout here.
One fight of being back in the
Oh,
mix.
faint overhand.
That was nice.
Faint overhand to jump left hook. That started it.
He was out.
Watch
on his
this.
way back
Shoulder,
up.
right shoulder, boom, bang.
Yep.
Right? What loads the mechanism, yeah?
Okay.
Ooh,
You didn't need that one. That was that double tap. The old Dan Ige right there.
That was like
the old double tap.
what Yoel did to Luke over in Perth.
Boom, boom. He
This
knew he
extra
was out
follow-up.
there.
Oh.
He didn't need that one, man.
Yeah, we didn't need
That
that.
Dude, when their
one.
knees get stuck under him, I always like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Sorry. So you're always
No, the Conor, right? The
Yeah.
toe. I like for me, I saw the news. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
I've been into fights banged. I don't know if I actually had broken bones going into fights because shit hurts.
Yeah.
Every fight.
Yeah.
Things hurt. I don't want to go get a imaging
Yeah.
because I'm trying to fight.
Yeah.
Dude. But it's, I don't whatever. I
Yeah.
don't judge them.
Yeah. Same.
Same.
I'm 0-0,
yeah.
right? These dudes are going in. Randy always says you take the 4 steps up that cage. You've shown your manhood. I'm
Yeah.
never going to call out anybody on any of that stuff.
Right.
Those
Except for
dudes do
Joe
it.
Anderson Burrito.
Joe Anderson Burrito. Fuck Joe Anderson Burrito. Motherfucker.
On the flip side, and speaking of toes, Pereira stepping in on short notice as a champion. Kind of the same question I said about Chandler, but on the flip side, like as a fighter, like what is your mentality? 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks out, they ask you to step in, and he's champ, which is the craziest part. Like he's champion. What's going through your head as an athlete in those moments, and thinking about the weight cut and the opponent and the travel and all that stuff?
I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. I'm always in pretty good shape year round.
Right.
But if you call me on 2 weeks, I'm thinking about weight cut.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about, oh, I got to fight this guy. I'm thinking about, oh, fuck, I got to cut weight and almost die before I fight this guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Pereira, dude, he's a legend, dude. He's a beast.
He was like, I think they said 227, 230 when he got the call. 227.
Yeah, and that's about right for 205.
Yeah.
Did he ever make middleweight?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy for him
Yeah.
because he used to walk around at that and cut to 185.
Right.
Which is like insane.
I mean, bro, this is what legends are made of.
Yeah.
This is what legends are made of, bro.
As a coach, are you even like, you're just like whatever his decision
Oh, I got
is? Or you,
goosebumps because I want that. I want stories to be able to tell my fucking kids about.
Yeah.
And his kids about. Oh, you want to hear a story? Let me tell you that one time when we were in Australia and we got a phone call by Hunter Campbell.
Yeah.
We had to hop on a bird to go fight and save the card.
Yeah.
So let's make sure the fans understand something. Any pay-per-view has to have a title fight or Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Contractually through their deal with ESPN, UFC pay-per-view, right? So this card doesn't happen unless what? Title fight or Conor contractually. So if you're Alex Pereira and you're that camp or you're that team or you're a champion, I'm Jerry Maguire, baby.
But I tell you what, I don't know if a
Rod
lot of them
Tidwell,
think that way.
show me that money.
I don't know if a lot of them in their circles think that way. I hope that's the case. Alex should be getting paid for this.
Oh.
And so should Yuri, honestly.
100%.
But yeah,
100%.
I mean, you're right though. You're 100%.
So you got,
right.
I mean, you very rarely, and there's been one or, you see a couple times throughout history where you can hold the promotion's feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Now, would I say do that? Maybe because I've seen guys where they've helped the promotion and it not reciprocate back. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You get that upper echelon, that 1%, the difference makers when it comes to the promotion.
Right.
You hold their feet to the fire. You get paid as much money as you can in that opportunity. But it just shows you, man, like these dudes, he's prepared. He's ready to go. He's already fought this fight once before. I think it ends up the same way. I think Yuri leaves his hands behind him when he throws. One hand's down, one hand's here, one's hand, although he's erratic,
Yeah.
Pereira is so clean in understanding the holes in your defense.
Yeah.
He's not worried about the punch that's coming. He's looking at the gap in the defense. And that's where he's clean. That's where he's got that killer instinct, clean kill,
Good
so
fight.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I saw something where Ortega said he was going to move up to 55. Did you guys see this?
No.
I saw a title fight.
Well, he had accepted a fight, I guess, at the Sphere at 55 before getting this call. And so now he's fighting who this kid's been on a tear too, Lopez. What do you think of that fight? By the time this comes out, I think that
right
fight will
time,
happen,
dude.
but.
I mean, they're like someone like Lopez who probably trains all year round.
Yeah.
They're high on him right now. They're like, you want to fight in 2 weeks? He jumped on the opportunity. Someone like Ortega, I think he was training too, getting ready for a fight. It's obviously a big risk, number 14 versus number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But again, this is what legends are made of, you know, who conquers this opportunity. And
I think like we, you know, big bro Jay Heron has said this as long as I've known Jay. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? And that echoes in these positions. And we talk to a lot of the young kids in the room that are on the cusp to get into the UFC. Yeah. You have to understand that you need to always be in a position to be within striking distance to say yes, to make weight, to get into the UFC. Because sometimes that opportunity doesn't happen again. They don't come knocking again when you say no. So stay prepared, stay ready. Like Dan always said, you want to be at least 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Every fight, every time. Yeah. I'm about 2 weeks out. You know, be ready to go.
What's that discipline like? Because you mentioned earlier an off season, but you guys really don't have one because of things like that, where you could get a call 2 weeks, short notice, 10 days, 5 days. Like, can you talk about the level of discipline that, because that's what like someone like me is. I've obviously never been a professional athlete. Like, it seems like that level of discipline is just like insane. How do you stay focused?
And I think that's the hardest thing of this sport, especially in the UFC. It's just the unknown.
Yeah.
When am I going to fight? Like if I had hey, you're going to fight February, July and December, it would be known at least, okay, I could pull back for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then, maybe bulk up a little bit and then cut back down. Yeah. But you just never know. Yeah. So it's really tough to shut off mentally. Yeah. Because you're like, fuck, I gotta go train. What if I get a call? I don't want to be, fat and out of shape. Yeah. Not that it's like I still train at least once a day, every day, if I don't have a fight, because it's just what I do. That's where I feel my worth, that I'm doing the best that I could do for my family. And then I go and I hang out with them. But you got to kind of look at it like that. And it's not this extreme competition every day, but you have to look at it like this. All of this that I have, this is a blessing. This is a blessing from God. It is my duty to show up daily and put in the work. It's not, I don't take home a paycheck every week. I only get paid when I fight, but I have to sweat equity, put in the work every day. That's an investment to
ROI.
Right.
Yep.
You know where it comes from, bro, honestly? And his dad is in the special, we were allowed to say, right? He's Navy SEAL, his old man. So if you understand the way that these men train, they train for combat every fucking day. Everything that they're doing is for life and death at the opportunity of possibly going out to fight in a war or combat, life or death. So when you're getting these reps every day, it's because you're building for something that's going to happen later on. Right. Right. But when you roll up off the couch and you ain't fucking, that's when you're like, oh, dude, that's why guys can't take short notice fights. Yeah. I don't feel prepared. Yeah. But if you're always in the gym, you're always working, you're always prepared. That's what I love so much about our team. You call Sean Strickland, he's going to fight you. You call Chris Curtis, you call Dan Ige, these guys are going to fight you. They're going to say yes. Right? That all becomes down to the level of your training.
Yeah. Do we, speaking of the gym, do we have any like fun gym stories we can share? Like, like give me some, give us some, like, give us a peek. Cause listen, we all know you go to the gym to train, just like Kobe goes to the gym to shoot baskets and, Brady goes to the field to throw footballs. But like, where are the stories? Like, I want to hear some of the stories. You hear stuff from like people of like, they'll go on a podcast and say this person talked mad shit to them, or this happened in the gym and this, that, and the third. And you can look back and laugh, but at the time, maybe it was like a situation. Give me some stories.
I don't have any, dude.
Nah, bullshit. Bullshit.
Eric's the GM of Extreme Couture. I show up, I lace up my gloves, I take them off, and I go home.
I'm the janitor, bro. That's all I do is clean up duct tape, bro.
Yeah.
I'm the historian.
Give me some
though.
human resource stories.
The human resource stories.
You got the tag above the cage.
Oh, yeah. Man, I mean, God, there's been
just
so
with like
many
teammates,
of
like
them.
Dan, like, you involved. I want to hear some. Something you could talk about. We're not going to air any dirty laundry, but let's hear some.
Well, yeah, I think like Extreme Couture is like a South Park episode.
Yeah.
Like no one is safe. No one is safe. And that's what I love so much about our group is we come from every walk of life, every part of the world. You throw us in one gym, right? It doesn't matter anymore. We're all a team. We're all teammates.
Yeah.
I think the best part about what we have with our continuity and our camaraderie is like the more we razz you, the more we love you.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't talk to you, if we don't talk shit to you, or we don't, say profanities at you or slurs to you, that means we can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
we don't know
100%.
you yet.
Yeah.
We don't know if you're down for this yet, or if we could throw you in the group chat.
Yeah.
Because if our phone gets confiscated, we're all going to jail, right? Like we're going to be in some trouble. So, and under the sanctity of the gym, it's like those things that happen in the gym are kind of like, I don't say personal, but I think for me is usually like the green lights.
Yeah.
Those are always pretty fun.
What are those?
Well, in the heyday of Extreme Couture, it didn't matter if you were cool or not.
Right.
You could have been the nicest guy in the world. You could have brought freaking gifts your first day. And I'm just honored to be here. Mike Pyle, Jay Haran, Gray Maynard, they're going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
They're going to fuck you up. They're going to run you through the gauntlet. They're going to beat your ass.
Right.
And then if you show up the next day, maybe they'll be a little cooler to you.
Right.
So now for us, it's like, hey, you come in, you're cool. It depends on how hard you go.
Right.
But if you're an asshole to the front desk and you talk shit or you're this or you come in like, I got 200 wins in street fights, like, green light. Green light.
Okay. Green
we set
light.
them up,
Got it.
right? We light it. So, but now at least we're a little bit classier about it. Like, Jay Haran's kind of trying to send you out with a concussion.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how Jay's changed though?
Yeah.
Jay, the enforcer of Extreme Couture for so long, now is like, all right, guys, no more filming the green lights.
Yeah.
No more knocking him out to the head.
He's the mature one.
He's the mature one. Now. Like, what, bro? Yeah. So now we call him the gentleman's KO. Like you got to hit him to the body. You got to drop him to the body. You got to chop the legs and stuff like that. So if a guy's coming in, gentleman's KO.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the home run to the gut. So
any stories of you beating any like trolls ass, like internet trolls ass that comes into the gym?
Not really. No? I kind of pick my partners wisely. I don't train with a lot of just randoms.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably has a few of some, I probably hurt a few guys in the gym, but I get beat up more.
I can tell when he gets frustrated with certain individuals.
No, but I meant like not like your sparring partners, but like how you've seen stories of like people on the internet being like, I'll spar you around and this and that.
All right, you gotta think like these dudes are tier 1 operators. Right. I don't put unless I need it. Yeah. But I always start off with like, all right, you're gonna get you get Pooney.
Yeah.
Who's a tier 1 operator, don't get me wrong, but Pooney's a young dude.
Right.
125er.
Yeah.
I either go with Pooney or I go with Kobe. Yeah. Because of what style I want that ass whooping in.
Yeah.
But they're both small dudes. And I could put Kobe in with an 85er right now, and he's gonna get on your back and you're gonna regret it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then Pooney, he's gonna hit you like the Matrix. So and then if I really want
kill your body.
If I really want you to get knocked out, it's Mateus. I'll put Mateus, Camilo in.
Okay.
So I have these, because if you walk in, you're like, oh, I want Sean Strickland. Yeah. You know who Sean Strickland is.
Yeah.
But you don't know who these young killers are yet.
Yeah.
And we got them young fucking killers in that are hungry.
Yeah.
That's what I love about them. They got a little blood in their mouth. They want to get out. Yeah. Then you got Sean on his phone and IG live in it. So they're getting their hype up. You got Pooney out there punching Francis in his guts, like doing the body shot challenge.
Yeah.
So these young dudes are hungry, right?
Yeah.
So, I always tell these guys, we got a little Lieutenant Aldo Rain. Mm-hmm. I always say, I want my Nazi scalps. And they know it's on, and they know it's game time.
I've made too much money now, so I don't even get it. I don't get invested.
Yeah,
they don't make me any dollars. I don't give a fuck.
It don't make sense.
All right, let's transition now. Towards the end of the show, now we're gonna get into what will become everyone's favorite segment, and that's burning questions, where we take fans' questions, we ask them on the show, and give them a little shout out. So I have a few questions here. We'll ask some fun, lighthearted, some MMA related.
I hate fun and lighthearted questions.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I have to be serious
At all
Everything's
times?
serious.
Yeah, look at him, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking adjusting the mic and
Okay.
fight you. I love this shit. Let's go. You gotta get on his ass.
All right.
I'm not here for fun.
Yeah. Okay.
See him, like, you see his hands?
I know.
He's
He got like
bro,
white
bro,
knuckle
I
too,
love
real
this
quick.
shit.
It's like,
Just dry
geez.
skin.
Are we ready to fight?
You're not fighting for like 4 weeks, bro. First question here. Dan, do you think your Hawaiian heritage is the reason why you guys are such warriors in the octagon? Because if you look at the Hawaiians on the roster, like, you know, there is something to be
Bangers.
said about,
Yes and no. I mean, I think Hawaii as a culture kind of brewed and that fighting spirit.
What
Brought to you by Modelo.
Yeah, let's go. Plug him.
That's funny.
That was awesome, bro.
Yeah. Cut. No.
Yeah.
No, we need a Modelo sponsor now.
Yeah, I
You
know.
ever set
No.
that up? Like, cue it up. Let's go.
But like I'm born and raised in California. I moved to Hawaii when I was probably in the 5th grade. So I went to all of school in Hawaii, basically grew up, you know, getting bullied.
Yeah.
Because I was always a quiet kid, right? So I learned how to defend myself. I started training jiu-jitsu, started wrestling. That's how I started gaining some sort of confidence, but I always had that fight in me because I just like, I don't want to be bullied, dude.
Right.
I always felt like I had something to fight for. And then growing up in Hawaii, dude, everything's fighting. Like if you have a beef with your friend, we're going to fight. We're not going to pull knives. We're not going to pull guns. We're going to go to the beach and we're going to get in a fist fight.
Yeah.
So
Old school way.
I remember being in high school. I was in 9th grade. I didn't have any skills. I didn't train. I didn't do jiu-jitsu. I didn't wrestle. But one of my friends instigated a fight between me and my friend because that's just what you do. So, and then I didn't want to be a pussy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to back down. So I ended up fighting my friend on the beach. We had a good scrap, and then I just remember like squaring up with him. Like I landed some knees. I don't even know how. I watched the UFC, watched DJ Penn was the champ. So I knew some moves, but I remember standing square and he just blasted me with the straight right, knocked out all my teeth.
Oh, wow.
My whole bottom row of teeth. And then like, I just stood there in awe. And like, I was like, dude, you knocked my teeth out. And we like both started laughing. I picked up my teeth out of the sand.
Yeah.
But it's just like what you do in Hawaii. If you go on YouTube, just type
Why not
Hawaii
surf?
street fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
dude,
like
surfing,
Kumbaya. It's like the
Yeah,
most
what?
peaceful, tranquil
Holy
place.
shit,
in the
man.
world.
surfing, even the surfing culture, like
fight.
it's
They're gonna
fighting.
fight.
Like if you
Took
cut
my
a
wave.
dude, you cut a dude off, like expect to fight, you know? So
Yeah.
especially on the North Shore, like when the waves are picking up and it's heavy,
Right.
those guys have like priority out there. They've been out there. They're locals. They've been surfing. So you got to know how to fight.
They love their Halle boys out there, though.
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't think so. All right. Question for both of you guys. At Extreme Couture, are there any up and coming athletes in the gym we should know about?
Oh, we nailed them. The green
Yeah, I
lighters.
think we already said them.
Yeah.
I say Kobe.
You talk about Kobe.
Fair.
Go ahead.
So Kobe, we'll talk about Kobe and Pooney. Those are the two that come to my mind right now. Kobe is from Akron, Ohio. This kid definitely had some issues growing up. He wrestled for Notre Dame D2. Just very talented. I remember day one. I don't even remember the story, but he said we went to wrestling practice and he just grabbed my head and like I had this look on my eye like, oh, this motherfucker's challenging me. And little did I know, this dude could actually like, he can grapple, he
good,
can
bro.
wrestle.
Yeah.
He's a 125er. And like he said, if you're 185er, doesn't matter. This kid can jump on your back and strangle you. And now he's learning how to strike, learning how to transition his striking to his grappling.
Learn
to
how
his
to be a
fit-ins.
fighter.
Yeah.
And he's mean, dude. And once you guys will see him soon. I'm sure you've seen some of them.
Yeah.
Tough enough, some local up and coming shows, but he's going to be a problem.
The thing about him that I don't think people understand about the ecosystem of Extreme Couture, it takes people that you don't maybe know their name yet that makes people like him great and win fights.
Right.
There's an ecosystem there, and we need people like that. So we have to groom them up through the system, through the ranks.
Yeah.
He has all the potential, all the talent in the world, but he makes Dan better. Everybody in the room, he makes better. Right now, it's our job to kind of groom him into the position for. We want him to surpass what we've accomplished.
Right.
We want him to be better than us. But without Kobe or Pooney or people like that, we're not successful. So I think people need to understand that we appreciate these guys so much.
Right.
Although you don't know their names yet, they're the ones that actually help us win these fights.
Right.
I think Kobe, I mean, we'll speak on Pooney too, but Kobe's really, like you said, he's helped me a lot, not just technically with my skills and training in the room, but like also keeping it fun, lighthearted. He helps me bring out other sides of me, you know, because
that's been your mentorship now.
Yeah,
you became a big brother to Kobe when you've always been the little brother, right? It's and this is dad talking now, but he's always been little brother to all of us, and we've all been in those positions somehow through this life, right? But I get to see him now groom. He's the veteran in the gym now. And I think he forgets sometimes, yo, you're a fucking captain, speak up. He's like, you know what, I am. Yeah, this is my cage, get out, you know? So now seeing him grow into the position that he's at today is now like the rite of passage. Like, hey, you're pop now, you're dad now, you're a real life dad. And now you're gonna have to groom some of these youngsters into this role. I love to see it.
I was gonna say, what's that transition been like for you to see? Because you've been with him from the start.
And you don't make me cry. The thing that people have to understand is, yes, I want to create world champions. I want the best fighters in the world, but I also want to groom the best men, the best husbands, the best dads. That's important to me. And that's what I have with him. So when I see him, of course, bro, we're going to talk about all these fights, the wins and losses. It's what he's built for his family. That's what I care about the most. The human being that I have with him now, that's going to be one of my crowning achievements in life. I get to look at him. He has his second home now. He has a beautiful family that he's built. All those things, living on a fucking couch with Brad Tavares with $23 in his pocket with these hopes and dreams. I get to see it firsthand, that growth. That's what this game's all about, bro, is getting more and more individuals in the same position that Dan's in.
And we'll talk about Pooney in a second, but I want to go off that. Do you take a second ever? Because you're still in your career. You're still have to be super focused. Do you ever take a second to kind of just like step back and be like, long way from $23 and a couch?
I do sometimes because, you know, especially when I get in like a down state of mind, the only thing that brings me back is usually a state of gratitude. And when I have to, how do I get to a state of gratitude? I have to go back and reflect on the things that I'm grateful for, my family, my beautiful home, my wife, my kids, my job, what I get to do every day. The thing that I don't want to do right now is what I'm grateful for, because I'm fucking sore everywhere. But I get, dude, again, it's a get to mentality. I get to go train every single day. I get to do this podcast with you guys. You know, it's not like I had to go do this. I get to do this with you guys. So it's getting back in that state of gratitude. But it's funny because like I don't think of myself like that when I'm in the room.
Sure.
I just, you know, I try to lead by example, but I don't usually. I'm trying to evolve into that leadership position, you know, and take that role. And it's a challenge for me, but it also brings me out of my shell and it helps me grow as a human and a fighter.
But we don't need you to be like he nailed it on the head. There's certain leaders that lead in different ways. He doesn't need to be the outspoken vocal leader. He leads by example. But I'll tell you what, before his Andre Feely fight, he spoke to the devgru guys after our practice. And dude, all of us just had goosebumps because I've never seen him that passionate about the position that he was in and what he had to say. And all of us, like 8 of us in the gym, were like, damn, that was amazing. Like what he had to say resonated with everybody in the room. It was the first time that I remember Dan really speaking up. And it wasn't the whole team. It was the select group of us, the small group that we have. And I'm like, damn, that's awesome. Like it just made me feel like that kind of passing over the torch to my guy, you know?
I remember you texting me. I was like, I don't even know what I said.
He blacked out. I blacked out. Did we beat Edson Barboza?
Yeah. Did we win?
Blacked out. Did we win?
Do you speak to like a sports therapist or psychiatrist at all? Because you've talked many times about like going from, you know, being down mentally to being back up and staying present and staying focused. And a lot of the way that you're speaking, you know, sounds like someone who's become very aware and very like present. Do you speak to a sports therapist at all or anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
When did you start doing that?
Probably after
Korean Zombie?
after Movsar Evloev. I was on a 3-fight losing skid, and I've just actually after that zombie fight, I got really depressed. It was my first fight as a dad. It was very important to me. It was my only way to. It was my winning that fight was the only way for me at that time to feel like I was a good dad. And like, even though this had nothing to do with it,
right?
That's how I was thinking.
Right.
So I was very depressed. Fought Josh Emmett, lost a close fight. Fought Evloev, 18 weeks of training camp, lost that fight, and I was just like in a cloud, dude. Like I was
what
lost.
A murderer's row, by the way.
Right.
Like, for you to be feeling like that after those 3 in a row is like, because that's such a tough 3 fights. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was lost, and I was like, I'm gonna seek. I was going to like church and stuff, and I was like, I need to figure out how to solve these problems because we all deal with them. How do we solve them with actual tools? So yeah, I started, speaking with the sports psychologist, and I think it's helped me a lot tremendously. Just like knowing that these are normal. It's normal to have these thoughts and certain patterns, but how do we not grab onto them? We call it grabbing the rope, or grabbing your balloon. How do I not grab onto this thing that's just making me, that my mind's fused to right now? I can't let go of it. And it's like you get in an argument with your wife and you're like, dude, like why'd you, whatever, the vacuum cleaner, or why'd you load the dishwasher? Why'd you put the bowls on the bottom?
Right.
The bowls go on top.
Yeah.
And I just, you get fused to something, but how do I learn to let go and come back to the present self? And that's all helped me be my most present in the octagon when I compete.
Mike has been dope, man.
Yeah, Mike is great.
I've gone with him.
Yeah.
I've been in those sit downs with him, and it's cool. Yeah. It's really cool to experience, number one. But number two, again, like for me as a coach, I want to know everything about my guy. And, of course, this might be intimate for him. I asked, hey, can I come with you? Oh, yeah, dude, that'd be dope. So coach and fighter sitting there with our Micah, our sports therapist. And, dude, and he was a baseball player for the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So a high athlete, high-level athlete. So it's cool, man. Like he's got a lot of great insight and has really helped Dan's career.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have more questions, but I feel like we should leave it there. I think that's a good way to
ask him about his tattoo though.
Oh, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric Nixick.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Oh, I was like, really?
It's a Viking, but he
see, I mean, like to end this, end the show.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if you really want to be the best fighter, Eric Nixick represented, you got to get a tat of your coach.
Amazing. All right. Well, all we can do now is march forward, which is the final segment of the show. Anything you have coming up, Dan? Let the people know what you have going on, when your next fight is, what's going on.
Just getting ready. July 20th. We don't have an official opponent yet, but we're staying ready. We're working. We're in the gym every day. I'm feeling tired, and I'm conditioned. I'm ready to kill someone.
Do you have a preference on who it is?
No.
Don't matter, bro.
Don't care.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that does it for today's episode of Verse Us. Subscribe to Verse Us anywhere you get your podcast. Watch us on YouTube, and make sure you follow at VSUS Pod on all social media. For Eric and Dan, I'm Randy. See y'all next time.